But my dad, he just asked me a few seconds ago if I was putting myself on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, and then he only followed it up with the question, is it positive? And all the videos I don't have too many videos I can say weren't positive. I mean, there's been a lot more videos that I may not have been happy with. Um, I know there's like points where I may have started talking about something, and I'm not just talking about pink eye. Um, yeah, I didn't want to say that word again, but I may have started talking about something, and then I just like stopped myself short, saying, okay, there's some people who, put the whole lodge out there, and they don't know like a limit of like. I remember back in college there was a class and we were talking about that, or there was some time I explored that. It may have been a show, but yeah, I know. I was talking about my encounter with Sean and Marlon Wayans, and basically where I was going with that is, I mean, it took me some time to realize that. Okay, perfect example. I went and brought this thing called the Pandal, and this was a Kickstarter campaign, and I mean, right now it's been like collecting dust, but it's funny how I'm about to take the subway to catch the. I'm taking a megabus to DC in roughly a little less than 24 hours. Right now it's 9:30 a.m. and I have a 5 a.m. bus to catch. And the point I was trying to make there is, I mean, I eventually bought this Pandal device, and even when I'm like, when it's time to get everything together, I could sort of like get everything together now, but I'm not that type of person. I need that fire like under me to like really do something. And sure enough, like I bet like all the money in my wallet, I mean, it's not much, but I need to go to the ATM, especially with the nature of this trip. But I bet all the money I have right now in my wallet that I'm going to wait until the last minute to start gathering myself together, and get out the house at 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning to make this trip. I'm actually going to leave it close to 2:30 because the megabus, it went from 8th Avenue and 34th Street to 11th Avenue, and my experience from going to gallery openings in Chelsea for over a year, I know that walk pretty well between 8th Avenue and 11th Avenue, and it's not like getting off the subway and getting to any place else in Manhattan, or at least in anywhere you'll find tourists. So yeah, this Pandal, the reason why I brought it is like sometimes like I've become conscious of perfect example. There was this one scene in The Aviator where Howard Hughes, or Leonardo DiCaprio, was he didn't want to touch the handle to the door, even outside of the bathroom. And later in the movie, Kate Beckinsale is telling him, like, not everybody is perfect. I mean, we try to like keep our hands clean and sanitized, but I mean, there's no way you can like, it's not like the ideals that his mother might have instilled to him at the beginning of the movie. I personally thought that there was some Oedipus like overtones in that particular scene of like his mother bathing him and telling him the dangers of different things like you can catch, or in that period of time it was a little more like people life expectancy was shorter, like I'm at a like yellow fever. That was the one thing that came to mind. Illnesses that you get vaccines for, that's something that's been in the headlines lately. Before I end this movie in the next minute, I said movie, I meant video. My personal view on like vaccines, I remember I was in a hospital and I got a flu shot recently. It was just one of those things where they told me, would you like a flu shot? It was just like no additional cost to like what they may have been billing me. And I was like, you know what? I heard some things about like vaccines, and when I mean heard some things, I was listening to this Alex Jones podcast, and it talked about the dangers of vaccines and population control, and how the military is giving vaccines to its soldiers, and how they're suffering from this and that, and body scanners at TSA. And there was this one worker who wasn't happy with something, and they spoke out and got fired. And right now, all I can really say on it is there's been times where I've had the flu. Not too long ago, maybe about a month ago roughly, I was really sick, and I had a pounding headache, and I had sinus congestion. I can barely speak clearly because my nasal congestion, and it was just one of those FML. My dad is outside, so I don't really want to speak freely as far as that's. It was one of those fuck my life sort of times where you're sick. I mean, I remember going to the Kangaroo, because gas station, it was one of the only places I was walking distance, and I was paying $10 for something that I may have took my bike and went to Walmart and got for maybe $7. And my grandmother, we were at Walgreens, she didn't want to get these Brita filters because they may have wanted one price, and Pathmark may have had it at a discount. And I was trying to tell her that I was trying to tell my grandmother that she was in the position of anytime she wants to go to the store, she has to call my Uncle Lawrence. What happened yesterday, and before I stop making videos, at this, I'm guessing I'm going to be done with this at noon, but I was trying to tell my grandmother that right now she's in a position where she has to depend on other people to take her places, and if she's going to go to one store and see Kangaroo is a perfect example. If you go to a Kangaroo and you get Tylenol Severe, because it has it mentions every single symptom that you're experiencing, and I mean, you have the choice. I mean, you can not pay $10 because you don't want to pay that and remain sick, and maybe wait 1 or 2 days until you finally find yourself near Walmart. I remember doing that once with ice, but my grandmother, not to say that she can't ride a bike anymore, or walk from her house to the bodega, but one thing that I've learned, and it doesn't just have to do with price. I mean, if you're traveling, it's just the cost of convenience. And yeah, if I lived in, I'll end the video with this. I read this headline, I forgot where, but if I had a choice between getting a water filter from Walgreens, and if I were in Pennsylvania, hypothetically, I was just there Saturday, but if I had a choice between paying too much for a Brita filter, or risk drinking water that may have elements of remnants of fracking, I'm gonna it's just someone else said that food is more expensive in Europe, and in America it's not so expensive. But if they had a choice between going to the farmer's market or going someplace that serves organic food, they'd rather pay more money for the food than to have more doctor's visits. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna spend money at the farmer's market, or I'm gonna pay more money at Whole Foods, but maybe 10 years ago, 10 years down the line, my point of view may be different, because I may consciously either meet someone, or just the same way kids may not be so conscious of washing their hands before eating, or doing something else. I hate to mention not washing hands after the bathroom, but it's just as you grow up, you sort of become more conscious of what you're putting into your body. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't eat shit, but if you want to explain it to your kid, then you could tell them that that tablet that you got for your birthday or you got for Christmas. There's a good chance that like if your habits of like even adults, because they did a study of 1 in 6. So if they were to do that study on kids, like tablets or whatever, the ratio, the fraction will probably be a lot higher than 1 in 6. And not to end my video on that note, but I'm just going to end it.